Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Marte, I come from Norway and I love makeup. And today I'm going to do 2 looks and some swatches of the BH Cosmetics Naughty palette, which I have right here. I already have one video on this palette app, which I think I did like 2 looks first impression. And I mean, this is still kind of like a first impression, but now I've used almost all the shades, so I will also give you my thoughts, like my final thoughts on the whole palette in the end. But let's just get straight into the swatches, shall we? So here we have the first half of the palette swatched out. I really like how these shadows both swatch and perform. And yeah, I'm really excited about this palette. The mattes are kind of a little bit loose in the pan, like not loose, but like a little bit soft, I guess I could say. But very, very beautiful. Just look at that bronze, it's so beautiful. But yeah, let's swatch the rest. So this is the other half of the palette, and I guess this one might be my favorite part of it, just because it's the one that has a little bit more colors to it. This shimmer right here, Spiked Cider I think it's called, that I used in one of my looks for today, is really beautiful. I've also used these two, they're so gorgeous. The only matte that I felt like was not both on the eye and on the swatch is this one. I had to build it up a bit, but it's nice to use as a transition. And you do have that shade mold that you can use to get like the more mustardy toned look on the eye. But yeah, these are the swatches. I did not mention this one, but obviously that's like one of my favorite shades of the palette, and this purple of course. But yeah, let's just move on to the first look, where I'm using more of like these berry red tones. For the first look I want to start out with the shade Brick, and I'm just going to place that in my outer V. I do have my BeautyBay primer on in the shade Base 2, and I'm just using a brush from the BH Cosmetics Rose Quartz brush set. I have tried these brushes before, but I didn't particularly like it, so I was just thinking I'd try them again because I really didn't give them that much of a chance. Just adding a little bit of Nutcracker, which I think is a little bit deeper. I'm just going to drag it all, like the mattes, all over my lid as well, just to have like a base for the shimmer as well. And as you can see, I did blend a little bit on the edges just so that my other mattes will layer nicely on top of this one. Now I am taking the shade Candy Cane, which looks like a red with kind of like a slightly pink undertone, and I'm just going to add that a little bit closer here, and also try to overlap it a little bit where I just did the blending on the deepest shade. It's definitely leaning a lot more berry than red, but I do really like it. And now I'm just going in with the shade Rudolph, also the same brush. I'm going to layer Rudolph a little bit on top of these other shades because it's a little bit more red toned and it doesn't have that much of that berry undertone. So I think it will go really nicely with the shimmer that I'm planning to use on my lid, which is the shade that is called Spiked Cider. I think that will look really good because that has like a shift that goes more to gold, but it also has that almost like berry shimmer to it. So I'm just buffing out the edges before I'm going in with a transition shade. Now before I'm going in with a proper transition, I'm just going to use the shade Maringe because it's basically my skin tone. So I'm just going to like set the primer that I have on so that the shadows won't grip onto the primer, and that way I won't drag this way too far up because I do like to have it where it is right now, because that, like, it's a little bit smoky but still not too much. So that's what I usually do. So when that is done, I'm going to take a smaller brush, and I think the shade Frosting looks quite cute. It's more of like a peach tone, so I'm just going to start here on the inner corner. I don't know if I want it further out here because it has that peachy vibe to it, but here I can definitely use it because I have that more orangey toned matte. I'm just dipping slightly into that shade Rudolph again, just to make the blend look a little bit better. And then I'm taking a little bit of Santa Baby. It's also kind of like warm pink, but I think that will blend quite nicely with the more berry tones here, because the other transitions are more brown based, so I definitely don't want to use them. I do see that the matte in the outer corner is turning a little bit deeper, but that might be because the primer is relatively wet, but it's just nice to be aware of that when doing your blending, so that you're going in to make it more matte by adding more of that deep color once you are almost done with the look. So I might go in even more afterwards, but for now I'm just going to use, like, I'm just going to dip it back into the shades that I already used and try to see if that works. Maybe I'll have to do it again. So now I'm ready to go in with the shimmer. Now I'm taking that shade Spiked Cider. As you can see, I did add glitter glue all over my lid. I tried not to use too much because obviously that can make it too like wet and you can have greasing throughout the day, so I want to try to avoid that. This shade looks so gorgeous. It really has that warmer almost pinky berry toned color, but then it shifts to like a gold. I don't know if, oh, it's so soft. Just put so much on my brush because it's really soft in the pan, but luckily it's really easy to tap it back into the pan as well. But as you can see, once I add the shimmer here, you get that warmer gold shift, which is so pretty. So that is it for the upper part of the lid. I really like how this is looking. It's so warm toned and beautiful. I'll just finish off my face makeup and the other eye, and I will show you how I do the lower lash line. So face makeup is done. I used my Kaleidos Makeup Cool Contour Kit in the shade Light, and then I used my BeautyBay blush in the shade Coral. And I've not done my highlighter yet, but now I'm going to do my lower lash line. And I'm quite sure I want to do something a little bit more orangey because I just dyed my hair. I don't know if you can like see it, but it's like reddish but with a orange undertone. So I think I want to like match it a little bit up with that. So I'm thinking I'll just use a tiny bit of Nutcracker, which was one of the deepest ones I used up here, just to like deepen up the outer corner right here. Nothing more than that. And I think I'll go into the shade that's called, I don't know how to pronounce it, but Panettone. And I'll just try to use that here and like overlap the deepest shade, and then slightly blend into the outer corner right here. Oh, sorry, I was not in frame. I'm also now taking a little bit of the shade Mold. I don't know how to pronounce it, I need to look it up. I'll just use that as like a transition shade here to get more of that mustardy orangey tone coming through. And I think I don't want any shimmer on my lower lash line, so I'm just going to go ahead and use, I think I'm going to use the shade Cheers because that is a little bit more warmer toned for my inner corner. So I'll just lay down a little bit of glitter glue and I'll show you the close-up of this look. So that is my first look finished. I'm sorry it's so dark behind me, but I couldn't bother turning on all the lights and stuff, and it's really dark outside still. But anyway, this is the first look. I really like it. It's bright and warm and fun. For my lips, I ended up using I'm Upset Matte X lipsticks from Colourpop, and I have my W7 lip twister in the shade Brown on, and I feel like that was like perfect for this look, and I just really like this. And for my highlighter, I actually ended up using just the two first shades in the palette, Cheers and Snowday, I think they're called. Just used a tiny bit of Snowday, and it's like such a beautiful highlight. Like, it's so shiny. I really like it. But now let's get going to the second look. So I really want to go for something like gingerbread inspired today, so I'm going to take the shade Hot Cocoa, and I'm just going to place that in my outer V. This is what happens when your puppy disturbs you when you're doing your makeup. Now I'm taking the shade Yuletide, which is more of a warm brown. Now going into the shade Mold. So now I've basically laid down the pigments where I want them, so now it's just to work on the blending. I might go in with one of the more transitional shades, but I'll just see what happens with what I have now. Just taking a little bit of Misbehave right here for the inner corner. I'm just taking Maringe on a big fluffy brush just to work on the blending, as I said. So I'm basically done with the blending. As you can see, I don't have a perfect blend with that deep matte, which is kind of what I experienced during the other looks that I did as well. So like, these are definitely not like the best shadows I've used, but for the price they are very good. Now I'm going to take this shade, which is the shade Decked Out. Look how gorgeous that is. And I'm just going to spray my finger with my Mario Badescu spray, just because these are quite creamy, so I don't want to use glitter glue just in case that might lead to creasing, because I do think I had a little bit of creasing with the shade Spiked Cider. So I'm just going to tap this onto my lid. So that shimmer is gorgeous. I really think that the shimmers in this palette, they are really good. Like, they have micro sparkles, so to speak, and it's just perfect. I love that. So this is definitely going to be a nice neutrally brown leaning look, but I do see that I need to try to blend a little bit more here in the inner corner, but other than that I'm just going to finish off the rest of my makeup, and I don't know if I'm just going to do the same with my lower lash line that I did on the top here, so in that case I will just show you the close-ups. So that is my second look for this video, and I ended up using my Glam Shop lip liner in the shade Pamela for my lips in combination with Injection from Kaleidos makeup, which was sent to me in PR. I really like it. It's my favorite color from them, and I just felt like it went perfectly with this lip liner. And I used also my Kaleidos makeup contour kit in Cool Light and my Lo-Fi blush from them. Those were also gifted. And a Ray Rider highlighter, because I really like their face products and honestly all of their products, so I've been using them a lot lately. And now I think I've used this palette, the Naughty palette, 3 times. I think that's correct. So I've gotten a good feel for it. I've used almost all the colors now. There's of course a few I haven't used, but I've pretty much dipped into almost all of them. Yeah, I've gotten a really good feel for it. I think that the palette is really good. I feel like the mattes, like the deeper mattes, do not blend as good as the lighter ones, but you can definitely make it work, and it's like not too much of a hassle, and for the price it is definitely worth it. And the shimmers are actually really impressive in my opinion, and I typically like really sparkly shimmers, so I feel like that says a lot. So I really like especially this one. I like this one that I'm wearing today. This one was so beautiful in my initial look with the palette. Yeah, I've actually done 4 different looks with this palette, yeah, because I did 2 in the first video as well. But yeah, I really like the palette. It's really nice. So I really hope that you liked this video. If you did, then give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!